Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Time again for Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Another AllStar game in the books. And I kind of have an opinion about that. But I don't know if it'll be very popular. Maybe everybody will go, yeah, that's right. I don't know. Or maybe I need to lighten up. We'll see. So make sure you got yourself your favorite cold beverage, like Diet Dr. Pepper or regular Dr. Pepper. I have a Diet Dr. Pepper here in a can. If only Dr. Pepper would sponsor us.
You know, that would be so great. They don't know how much we love it.
We do.
It's in our DNA, really.
I don't drink any other kind of soda.
Yeah, me either. Baseball and Dr. Pepper in our DNA.
I think when they took blood from me the last time, they're like, is this Diet Dr. Pepper mixed in with your plasma? As a matter of fact, it could be. We got All-Star game to talk about. We got the Freeway Series to talk about. But first, before we get to that stuff, we've got to find out, have you been to our Instagram page yet? Because on Tuesday during the All-Star game, or Tuesday during the day on All-Star game Tuesday, your chance to win a Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast t-shirt was presented. It exploded out onto the scene in the Instagram world at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A. And all you got to do is, and correct me if I'm wrong here, follow us, follow our friends over at Game Day Chic, and comment on the post, tell a friend. Did I get it right or did I miss anything?
You got it totally right. You just have to go. So it's going to be 3 winners, because we have got a grand prize and then a first and second. Everybody that wins gets a Sibling Rivalry Baseball t-shirt. Awesome looking t-shirt, great logo, comfortable, and it has our pictures on it.
Right.
Like our likeness. But then if you're the grand prize winner, you get the t-shirt plus a $40 gift card from Game Day Chic, which is really awesome because they've got my favorite baseball t-shirts, and they also have football and softball. So whatever sport you like, they can do it. And if you message them and say, hey, I really like this shirt, but could you do it in this color? They'll do it for you because they did it for me. You know, I think that they might do a curling shirt. Maybe.
So,
but they're great. So
great women's apparel for sports, especially baseball. You have a bunch of them. When you go to Instagram, you'll be able to see that's Jana's collection.
It is.
There. Go check it out. Do those things. It's all on the post. If you're not catching us when you go in there, just search Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. It'll pop up, and then you can like and all the stuff that you're supposed to do, and it is all listed right there. You don't have to remember this. We put the instructions right in the post.
Yeah, it's all right there. It's really simple. Tag a friend. The more you, like, if you comment and the more people you tag, the better chances you have to win. Winners are going to be randomly drawn. And so, yeah, go to our Instagram page at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
All right. And we'll be talking about winners next time because you got a whole week of this to go and check it out and get excited about it and get more excited about it and get super excited about it. So from Jana's All-Star t-shirt collection to the All-Star game. Big happenings at Dodger Stadium. The Ravine finally hosting the All-Star game. And by all looks, everybody was excited to be there. There were a lot of the players that were like, I haven't got to play in Dodger Stadium yet. I'm excited to be here. Or even if they had, there's something different about Dodger Stadium than there is almost any place else. I'm going to talk about the game in a little bit. And like I said, I have an opinion about it. But let's start off with the biggest thing that seems to happen over All-Star Weekend. No, I'm not talking about the Futures game. I'm talking about the Home Run Derby. And overall, not a bad Home Run Derby. We had the grizzled 23-year-old veteran going against a rookie at one point, and we got to see Tio Alberto.
Right, who was, I think, everyone's favorite to win or to see. The players loved it. They were behind him. Round one, though, Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners came up. He was against Corey Seager, and I felt bad for Corey Seager because I thought there's no way that he's going to beat him because he came up first, and he hit 32 home runs in the first round. 32, and Corey hit 24, which he's hit a lot of home runs in Dodger Stadium, but nothing like the rookie Rodriguez.
Came out fired up, ready to go.
Yeah. And then Pete Alonso versus Ronald Acuna Jr. Everybody thought that Pete Alonso was going to three-peat. I think it was Taijuan Walker who had put, three-peat, but with Pete, P-E-T-E. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards he deleted the tweet because it didn't happen. But he was not the same. He was not the same Pete Alonso from the previous two home run derbies. He was always really loose. They have a DJ there playing music, and he was always bopping around and, just in the groove. And this time he was like too businesslike, too tense. And I think that played into... Now, he did make it out of round one. He hit 20 home runs. Ronald Acuna Jr., who was not happy, only hit 19. Only 19. But he wasn't the same guy. I don't know if you noticed that, but he just wasn't the same Pete Alonso of his previous title runs in the home run derby.
I did notice there was something different about him. He moves on to the next round to take on
Julio Rodriguez.
Right. So we kind of know where that's going. And then what were the other matchups?
So and the last two matchups in round one, Juan Soto and Jose Ramirez. And that was really close. Juan Soto hit 18 home runs. Jose Ramirez of the Guardians hit 17. And the matchup that everybody was looking forward to, I was looking forward to, it was Tio Alberto. And he even had Dodger fans in the stands chanting Tio, Tio, because that's, like their guy. And Kyle Schwarber, who has 29 home runs on the season. Tio Alberto pulls out the win in extra time, hits 20 home runs. Kyle Schwarber had 19. I don't think it's what Kyle Schwarber was expecting. I don't think it was what Albert Pujols was expecting, to be honest, but he was so much fun to watch, and he just had pure joy on his face. He could not stop smiling, and I loved watching that. And then after he was done, after he beat Kyle Schwarber to go to the second round, all of the players that were on the field just converged on him and just were like a big bear hug of all the players to Albert Pujols. So it was really cool. It was a really cool moment. So then we moved to round two. And as I said, Julio Rodriguez is matched up with Pete Alonso. Juan Soto is matched up with Albert Pujols. Julio Rodriguez had hit 32 home runs in round one, 31 home runs this round in round two.
He fell
it's no
off.
big
I'm
deal.
Surprised.
He did. He just really gave up. and 31 home runs. And Pete Alonso only hit 22. But again, Pete Alonso was not Pete Alonso of past home run derbies. He was too businesslike. He needed to be loose.
The pressure to three-peat. And King Griffey Jr. was there, the only player to ever win 3, period.
Right.
Not even 3 in a row, but just 3, period. And it even made I don't remember who mentioned it, but the announcers from ESPN were even like, "Is this an unbreakable record?" After Pete went down, was like, "Is that one of those records that'll never be broken? 3-time winner, there'll only be one." King Griffey Jr.
Yeah. Pete Alonso's out. We know he's not going to three-peat. Julio Rodriguez moves on. Juan Soto goes up against Albert Pujols, and Juan Soto, he's my hero, and he's going up against him. He hit 16 home runs. Albert had 15. Couldn't, just get everybody was like willing him to get a tie or, like 2 more home runs, but it just didn't work out that way.
There was a moment though there with Juan that he went through a dry spell for a while. And as the time was going, it felt like the time slowed down and he was able to get on a little bit of a run and finish up with the 16th home run to beat Albert. For a couple seconds there, though, it almost felt like Albert could actually be moving on. And there was some talk that maybe Kyle Schwarber threw his... Because he didn't really look like a home run hitter when he was hitting up there. And it could have just been he was off. He never got in a groove. And that's the important part of this competition.
Right. You got to get into a groove. There was also talk about shadows at Dodger Stadium. And if you watch games from Dodger Stadium when they're in, that hour, 5 o'clock hour in the afternoon, shadows start creeping in. And so they were saying maybe there's some issues there, but
there was also issues with what they called the money balls that had pink on them, the baseballs, and a lot of the players had a problem with that baseball. As brightly colored as it was, it just I think they're used to just seeing the white come out on the baseball, and it did throw a few of them off. Even Juan Soto would have some issues with that whenever they changed to that ball. All right, so now we're in the championship. We got Juan Soto, who's been here before in the home run derby contest. And
he was there last year.
Mm-hmm. We got Julio Rodriguez, rookie, making his first anything as a major leaguer, really. He's got his first home run derby, his first time as an All-Star. He's on probably the hottest team in baseball coming into the All-Star break. And Juan Soto, that grizzled veteran.
Yeah, 23-year-old. Yeah.
And we'll talk about Juan Soto a little more when we get to around baseball as well. But these guys go, and the one thing that I've always noticed about Juan Soto, and I think it was kind of this way last year, you got guys coming out and hitting 40 home runs in the first round, or like 32 from Julio. Juan always seems to be in that position where he just needs to hit one more than the other guy, and it's not like he's having to hit 33 home runs. He just had to hit 16 or 18 or whatever. So I think that helps him conserve energy, because hitting 63 home runs in 2 rounds will take it out of you, even if you are only like 20 years old.
Right. Yeah. So Julio Rodriguez went first, and he put up 18 home runs. That was the number that Juan Soto either had to tie so they could, go and do like what do they call it? Home run off. And then Juan Soto went, and the whole time he was in the back, he had the massager going on his arm, just relaxing. He gets out there, he hits 19 home runs, but he did exactly like what you said. He got into a groove, but he only needed, I only need 19. I don't need, to go crazy. I just need this. And that's what did it. And he is the home run the home run derby champion for 2022, got like a crazy. I mean, we always talk about San Diego has the hubcap thing. They kind of did the home run derby chain or medallion, whatever you want to call that thing, but that was like super cool because it's
I
the
can't
home
even
run
say
derby.
it was a medallion. I mean, that thing was
No, it
huge,
wasn't
and big, and it was just, yeah, you could put
it
an
would like
eye
hurt
out,
your neck. Yeah,
right?
it would.
So there you go, Juan Soto. So, question is, will he come back next year and try to get 2 and then 3? We'll see. It'll also, who knows what it all depends on. May depend on
Yeah,
even where he's playing.
exactly. But he is the second youngest Derby winner at 23 years and 266 days. And I think my favorite quote when he was interviewed afterwards, when they asked him about what did you think of Julio Rodriguez, he said, he's a good kid.
All right. So let's move to Tuesday night and the All-Star game. We saw Clayton Kershaw take the mound for the National League, and then Shane McClanahan from Tampa Bay for the American League, that to get everything rolling. And I don't know, what did you think of the game?
I was excited to see Clayton Kershaw on the mound for the first inning. I thought that was really cool. And the reception, of course, that he got in Dodger Stadium. I was hopeful for the National League that they scored 2 runs right off the bat because normally they don't. And then I was bored.
Exactly. And that's where it comes. The All-Star game can be exciting or not. Here's the deal. This game, with the exception of the National League's 2 runs, and then back-to-back home runs by Byron Buxton, who hit the go-ahead home run, and Giancarlo Stanton, who earns the All-Star Game MVP award, hit a 2-run shot to tie everything up. After that, pretty much nothing. The American League had a few more hits, but they went for a long time where the National League pretty much got no hit the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think it wasn't until like the bottom of the 7th, maybe bottom of the 8th, Austin Riley got a single.
Right.
And that was it.
And what it made me think of, because there were quite a few strikeouts, is that the All-Star game kind of mirrored what we see in the game as a whole. A lot of strikeouts, not a lot of offense. And isn't that what we're really seeing across the board? I'm sure you have the top players from both sides and some of the pitchers coming in, because I know a couple of the relievers there, Clase, at the end of the game was throwing over 100.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, his stuff, they just looked like the hitters were just like standing there. Or
it's almost,
they were so late when they swung. It was, I mean, it was crazy.
I didn't get to see all the game because somewhere along the way, I thought it would be important to be gainfully employed. And my shift didn't get done until the game was, I think I joined in on the game other than trying to catch minutes here and there, streaming it off on my phone, was around the time that the 6th inning when they did the stand up to cancer thing. So, but I just kind of was like, okay, this just looks like watching an Angel game.
Yeah, it was.
Without offense from the Angel.
Yeah, and Dieter Rule was there playing the organ, and, he started playing the Gilligan's Island theme, which we all know it's 3-hour game. When he starts playing, it's a 3-hour tour, and he played it, and I was like, this has been going on only for 3 hours. They had players mic'd up, and some of them were okay. Some of them, I don't know. It just was.
I think that was more fun overall.
Yeah.
Nestor Cortez, pitcher, mic'd up while he was pitching, and then the Yankees catcher,
Jose Trevino.
He was mic'd up right after that, and he was kind of fun to listen to.
Well, and they were actually mic'd up together.
Oh, right.
So, yeah. So that was fun to see because they're teammates and, to see how they work. and to see why the Yankees are in the position that they're in right now in the standings. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything special. You know, you had two choices for the MVP. You know, Giancarlo Stanton, Byron Buxton, and it's like, okay, well, they both hit home runs, but Giancarlo hit a 2-run home run, so he edges out just the single home run.
Even though he's not a Dodger, he's kind of a hometown kid. Well, he is a hometown kid as far as that goes. First professional baseball game he ever went to was at Dodger Stadium, set in the left field bleachers. He mentioned that during his MVP award, that being able to play out there, hit the home run out there was pretty incredible. So for the most part, I saw a lot of guys having fun, which was cool. The game on the field looked like it always did. It didn't look like there was a ton of fun going on out there. There were moments, but for the most part, that's the thing that I'd hate. The baseball's All-Star game, even for people who don't really like to watch baseball throughout the year, will normally stop to watch the All-Star game. And I don't believe that this was the best showcase could have been. And it's kind of funny because I think it was the Onion post today was Rob Manfred finds new ways to make the All-Star game bad or something like that. And not that it was bad. It wasn't what you want in a time frame when you're trying to build up a bigger audience. And this was the time. There's nothing else going on. This was the time to have it.
Yeah, and
a really good game.
Savannah Bananas tweeted out, I think it was either yesterday or today, tweeted out, who wants to see the All-Star game played under banana rules?
Ooh.
And of course, everybody wants that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That could be
that
the
might
thing.
be a good way to look at it.
In the All-Star game, yeah, you do this. No other time. And that would be more fun. We do have to look at Shohei Ohtani. He was the leadoff batter. He said, I'm going to first pitch, I'm going to swing. And he did. And he finally got a hit off of Clayton Kershaw. He was like 0 for 8 against Clayton Kershaw. Got a single only to be picked off by Clayton Kershaw. So Clayton's inning, he struck out Aaron Judge. He walked Rafael Devers, and then Vladdy Jr. grounded out, and he had a scoreless inning. The only one Dodger I felt really bad for was Tony Gonsolin, who got the loss. So luckily, this does not go against his win-loss record, and it doesn't go towards his ERA because he was the pitcher who gave up the 2 home runs to Stanton and Buxton. He looked shell-shocked. He looked like, what is happening? I don't know. I'm
pitching at home. I'm always good here. Yeah, but you're pitching against, guys who are doing this every day, and they're the stars of their team. You're not always facing guys like that.
Yeah,
he'll learn something from that.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, he faced Jose Ramirez, who got a single, and then Giancarlo Stanton, who hit the 2-run home run, and then Byron Buxton came right up after him, and he just was like, "What?" Like I said, what is happening here?
3 MVP guys. In fact, Jose Ramirez is an MVP.
Yep.
And all these guys. So, and it's his
maybe
very
it was
first
Brian
All-Star game.
Brian Snickers, like, we're gonna really put you to the test. And these are the guys you're going to face.
Well, that could be, for sure.
Maybe. I don't know. I wanted to mention Tony Gonsolin's suit on the red carpet. They have a red carpet before the game. I mean, it's like way before the game. But it was a gift from Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw said, hey, when are you going to be at the stadium? He's like, well, I usually get here around this time. He's like, okay, there's going to be 2 guys. They're going to be measuring you for a suit. And Tony Gonsolin's like, oh, okay, what's this about? He buys him this suit. It's like a maroon color. Inside the jacket is leopard print. And then on the pocket is a little cat paw. So it was
Yeah.
like perfect for Tony
Nice.
Gonsolin. So I would say he was like one of the best dressed, courtesy of Clayton Kershaw.
Nice. Better than one of the MLB hosts who
Oh my gosh. That was
shorts, and I don't know what was
horrible.
up with those shoes. I caught some of it. I was
I
on
think he got him
break.
from his grandma.
Oh, that was just wrong. That should never happen again, and he should be fired
He
immediately.
should. I mean, everybody, the players that they talked to, I don't think any of them, they were like, oh, Mike Trout was the only one that was like, I don't know what you're wearing, but you shouldn't be wearing it, in his total New Jersey style.
Nice. All right, so that wraps up All-Star Game Week. The only thing that's going on that started in All-Star Game Week is our T-shirt giveaway. And remember to go check it out on the Instagram page so that you have a chance to win. Now, let's take a look at the Freeway Series. It was only 2 games, and it took place at Angel Stadium because they've already played the 2 games of the Freeway Series at Dodger Stadium. And of course, it really couldn't be there because they had all the stuff they had to do to get ready for the All-Star Game week, which, like we said, started with the Futures game. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Get to game 1 of the Freeway Series, and who's there on the mound? The same guy who started the All-Star Game and had a pretty incredible night. Wouldn't you say?
I would say he was perfect through 7. He is the only pitcher in the last 40 years to have a perfect game through at least 7 innings twice in the same season. We were all really hoping that he was going to do it. I think the Angels fans were even rooting him on. But I really blame Tim Neverett, who is one of the broadcasters for Spectrum, Sportsnet LA. Nobody talks about this. Everybody knows you don't talk about, these type of no-hitter, perfect game. You don't talk about it. I mean, I guess we have discussed if it's not your team, chat it up. But when it's your team, you don't talk about it. You don't say anything. And Jessica Mendoza was with him. She didn't say anything. And he was like, oh, I need to call some people, maybe tell them to start watching. And I'm like, shut up, Tim Neverett. And then he just lets it out. And Luis Rengifo, who was always consistent, got a hit. And that was the end of it. But it was really awesome to watch.
So great night from him. Like I said, 8 innings. He finished 8 innings worth, even though he had given up that 1 hit. Only struck out 6.
I
which
know.
is weird because you get that many outs in a row, and it's the Angels who are setting strikeout records. I mean, they're like falling over themselves to set strikeout record.
Yeah, when I went back and looked at the box score, I thought there was only 6 strikeouts. There had to have been 20. I mean, it felt like that, but there was only 6. Yeah, and this is crazy, but I think I texted you, and I know some people tweeted about it, but as soon as Reyes Moranta came in, it's like he's going to give up a home run because that's what he does when he comes in relief. He did to Brandon Marsh.
Brandon Marsh, over this 2-game series, the Angels scored 2 runs, both by Brandon Marsh.
Yep,
and
2
that
home
pretty
runs.
much wraps up the Angels' offense. Kind of. Luis Rengifo broke up the perfect game. He did have hits the next night. The Dodgers played 2 different games offensively. On the first game, more small ball, a lot of singles. Patrick Sandoval was on the mound, not looking as good as he has. Only threw 4 2/3 innings, gave up 7 hits and 4 runs of the 9. Only struck out 3. Austin Warren inherited 3 runners, and 3 runners scored. He got those from Jose Marte, and it just was not a great night for the Angels, and I had hoped for more. And when we talk about the Angel segment, we'll get to talk about maybe a little ray of hope, maybe a bad ray of hope or a false ray of hope, but at least a silver lining for the team if they're trying to build confidence. But in this series, first game, no. First game, like I said, JT, 3 for 5. Will Smith, 4 for 4 with a triple. JT had 4 RBIs. Hanser Alberto with a triple. So we go to game 2, and Julio Urias is on the mound. Jose Suarez for the Angels. Now, Suarez only goes 3 2/3. He gave up 5 hits, 6 runs, 3 of those being home runs, because the Dodgers said, we played small ball last night. Tonight we're going long ball.
Yeah, and 2 of those were courtesy of Mr. Trey Turner, which he needs an extension. He said during the AllStar interviews, this is feeling like home. We're liking it. So I'm thinking, Andrew Friedman, did you hear that? But yeah, 2 home runs. Freddie Freeman had a home run. Max Muncy had a home run.
Yeah, Max had 3 RBIs, and Trey had 3 RBIs. The interesting thing is that they had 7 team hits and scored 7 runs. The Angels were able to hit the ball a little bit better. The night before, they had just the 2 hits. The Angels had 7 hits as well, but only 1 run scored. Rengifo and Shohei both 2 for 4. Brandon Marsh with another home run. Struck out 10 times in that game. Actually, I was kind of surprised because the Dodgers struck out 1 more time than the Angels did as a team. At that point, it's looking like the Angels that we've been talking about. And after the losing streak, there's teams like the Braves had a 14-game winning streak. The Mariners come into the All-Star break with a 14-game winning streak. The Angels are also in the 14 club, just on the wrong side of the 14, with 14 losses in a row.
Yeah, in that first game, Patrick Sandoval, like you mentioned, was 4 2/3 inning, but he threw over 100 pitches in that time frame versus Clayton Kershaw, who I think by the 6th inning had maybe 59 pitches.
Right.
I
think in the
like
7th,
that.
he was at 77. So
Yeah.
he was very economical. He went through a stretch where he had 4 outs on 5 pitches. So the Angels weren't striking out necessarily, but there was a lot of first pitch outs, maybe second pitch outs. They weren't making Clayton work. Now, Clayton can get past that. He's a good veteran pitcher, but that's the thing that a lot of teams don't get, and the Angels haven't been doing, is they don't really put any pressure on the pitcher, and it bites them. The Dodgers take the Freeway Series this season. Not any big surprise there, unless something happens and the Angels turn it around. They won't see the Dodgers again until next spring training. Before we take a look at the Dodgers and how their week went with their trip to St. Louis, it's the Angels' turn to be up front or up first this week. We got the Freeway Series, but before the Dodgers came to town, the Angels had to take on the Asterix once again. And after a really terrible road trip and getting swept by the Orioles, another team, they went on to go 10 in a row before they finally lost, and are just a couple of games out of a playoff spot where the Angels are like way out of a playoff spot. It didn't look good because of how things worked when they were in Houston. But the first game looked like that was going to bear out, that they just can't compete with the Asterix. Noah Syndergaard only threw 4 innings, just gave up 3 hits and 3 runs, but not a long outing. Raisel Iglesias picks up the L, gives up 1 run on 2 hits in this 6-5 defeat. Now, you would think, by the way that I talked about how that they didn't win anything, that they must not have done. They must have got blown out. But no. But here's a weird thing. The Angels scored 5 runs on 2 hits in that game. And that was all courtesy of Phil Maton and Rafael Montero, who ruined a great outing by Luis Garcia, who started for the Asterix that night. 6 innings pitched, only gave up 1 run, 1 hit, struck out 7. But it was there where Maton basically gave up 4 runs. And in the 7th, it was a walk. He got, the bases were loaded because of a walk. And then David McKinnon, 1 for 2, gets 2 RBIs. So that was one of the hits. They walk in a run. It was just the bullpen for the Asterix was out of control. And I know that Dusty must have been saying, we got to put a stop to this and normally Maton is pretty shut down. So that was pretty crazy. Now, the bad news out of that game, well, good news is, hey, they took advantage of Phil Maton and Rafael Montero's poor pitching and scored some runs and got back into it and made it look like it. Looked like they were going to be part of everything and maybe come back completely. Part of what happened too, Alex Bregman throwing error, and that really helps get things going. So all those runs were unearned. The Angels didn't score an earned run during the game. Bad news though, Mike Trout leaves the game with back spasms, and that would take him out. If you notice, we never mentioned him during the Freeway Series that happened after that. He was scheduled to play in the Saturday game in the lineup, and then just short of game time, he was scratched because it acted up again after batting practice. Game 2 comes up. A whole different Angels team is out there. And know why?
I do. It's because Shohei Ohtani is on the mound.
Exactly. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, struck out 12, and became only the second Angels pitcher ever to strike out at least 10 hitters in 4 consecutive games. Of course, and I know who he tied. The greatest strikeout pitcher of all time. Tungsten arm. No, that's not. Nolan Ryan.
O'Doyle.
That's right.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan, which this week, I think it came out on Tuesday, you can stream Facing Nolan now. I think it's on Apple. I think it's on Apple TV. There's some other places it's at. So yeah, definitely do that, because now you've got, just the second Angels pitcher to do that. And that is crazy because Nolan Ryan did his, Ohtani also became the first Angels starter hit a triple since Nolan Ryan did it in Minnesota on June 27th, 1972, 50 years ago.
Right.
He hit
right before the designated hitter became part of the American League.
Yeah. So, it's just crazy. But the reason that the Angels won is because Shohei was on the mound. He goes 2 for 4 in that game. And his dominance on the mound, and really just on the mound at the plate, began June 9th. He's improved to 6-0 with a 0.45 ERA over his last 6 starts. 58 strikes in 39 2/3 innings. He's just amazing. They were talking to Max Fried at the AllStar game, him and Garrett Cole, and Shohei Ohtani was getting up to bat, and they asked him, they said, are you in awe as much, are you just in as much awe as we are of watching Shohei Ohtani? And he's like, Max Fried was like, yes, absolutely. He's like, I don't know how he does what he does. And Garrett Cole was also mic'd up, and he said he goes out there, he pitches, and then the next night he's hitting. He goes, I have 3 home runs in my career. Max Fried, I think, said he didn't have any. I think he had a walk-off, maybe a single or something like that. But they're like, he's amazing. So his fellow peers, his fellow baseball peers are in awe of him, as they should be.
J.D. Martinez of the Red Sox said also at the All-Star game, made a prediction. Said, do you think that Ohtani, if you think Shohei will be the MVP this year? And he says, no, I think he'll be the MVP the next 5 years. And if he continues to play like he is, it's going to be tough. Mike Trout's even saying, hey, I mean, they were talking to him together, both on MLB, and that comes up. What's it like playing with him? And now Mike Trout is not the perennial MVP candidate. He's a candidate right now. It kind of falls off because of what's happened with him, and now with the injury issues that he's been having. Ohtani is just getting better, and like I said, it does seem like we talked about last week with that tweet from a couple seasons ago or last season. Ohtani comes out, breaks some sort of record, and in this game, like Garrett Cole and they were saying, he goes up, he pitches a great game, strikes out 12. And then he said next day he goes out and hits a home run. He's like, no, how about the next inning he hits a triple?
Right, exactly.
It's not even, you don't even have to wait a night.
No, he's doing it all.
And he wants
game.
excited. And all the people who keep saying he should do one or the other and he would be great. I agree. If he focused on just being a pitcher, he'd probably be better than anybody. He would definitely be a longtime Cy Young Award winner or multiple Cy Young. But he could be that even with hitting. Could you imagine if he could win the Cy Young and then like a triple crown? He doesn't really hit for high enough average for that, but he has the potential. And I think he's so good at pitching because he's able to go out there and hit. It takes his mind off if he's not sitting in the dugout running through all the pitches all the time. Because as soon as he gets off of the mound, he can't sit in there and think about the next inning. He's got to think about the pitcher he's about to face with the bat.
Yep.
And I think it makes him
That's
that
really
much
good
better.
point. Yeah, I think so too. There was a funny exchange on the field when they have the workout and right before the home run derby. Albert Pujols asked Shohei's interpreter, Ipe, is that how you pronounce his name, Ipe?
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him, where were you during the fight between the Mariners and the Angels? And Shohei was laughing and like hiding his face, and Ipe's like, I was hiding. I was not in the fray. So that was kind of
and
fun.
then Shohei kind of shows him that he kind of pushed people off of him a little bit, but didn't get involved. And that made Albert was almost on the ground laughing, rolling around. It doubled it over.
Yeah. He's fun. He's fun to watch. He's amazing. And when you talk about the All-Star game, every player wants their pitcher taken with Shohei.
All right, one more game, and then we will close the book on the Angels week before they head into the second half of the season. Reed Detmer's back on the mound. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, only gave up 2 runs, struck out 6. So not a bad outing for the rookie. As a team, the Angels struck out 13 times, but the Asterix struck out 10 times during the game. Aaron Loop ends up taking the loss in this Zennings game. 3-2 was it. The Angels really had good chances to win some of these games. They could have won at least 2 of the 3. They had made a comeback in game 1. They had a great game 2, winning that one 7-1. In this game 3 in the Zennings, they were 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position and left 14 runners on base. What they were lucky is that Framber Valdez did not completely dominate them the way he normally does. He did throw 6 innings, gave up both runs, only struck out 6 of those 13 team Ks, and just gave up the 2 runs. And the 2 runs were a bases loaded walk and a pass ball that scored Max Stassi. Shohei was ended up walking, and it was because of that Max Stassi comes in and scores that, and they get the 2 runs. They couldn't even hit in anything. Taylor Ward 2 for 4. Luis Rengifo once again 1 for 4. So he is making the most of his time up in the bigs. So the Angels hit the road starting on Friday. They will be in Atlanta, and Shohei is scheduled to start that game. Not sure if they're going to see Max Fried during that. Max Fried pitched right before. That's why, even though he was an all-star, he did not participate in the game. Shohei was selected as a pitcher, but he ended up not pitching because he's going to be starting on Friday. So that took them out of the game. And then when they're done with that, they're going to head to Kansas City, and I guess to go on the famous hop on, hop off fountain tour around the city.
Yeah,
and
why not? That sounds good.
Hopefully they'll stop in at the Negro League Museum and check that out. That was one thing I did want to mention. All-Star Game night, Rachel Robinson's 100th birthday.
Amazing.
They sang happy birthday to her. Denzel Washington was there in his Brooklyn Dodgers jersey, and a tribute to Jackie and to Rachel. That was pretty incredible as well. I watched that on video. I didn't get to see it live, because if we could get paid to do this podcast, I wouldn't have to work. And then I could have been there watching all that stuff instead of watching videos on my phone. Dr. Pepper, do you hear me? Sonic. All right. So with that, how about a player of the week? It's tough, but.
Well, so I have always looked through and said, okay, who was consistent, or who did this and who did that what? And this week, I didn't have anybody. I mean, I guess I could have gone with Shohei, but I think I could go with Shohei every week pretty much.
Recently,
yeah, but this time I just took a card from you from last week and gave it to nobody.
So we're actually swapping places, because this week I felt like I got to give it to him, even though you gave it to him last week, Luis Rengifo, because of all the players. Sure, Shohei is doing incredible things, but Luis Rengifo every game is showing up, doing something to try to get the game going. He broke up the perfect game, and he's with a double. So he's on second base. It's not his fault that the rest of the team dropped the ball there.
Well, and an Angels fan had tweeted out that they would send flowers to the Angels player who broke up Kershaw's perfect game. So the next day, Luis Rengifo had a very nice bouquet of flowers waiting for him in his locker.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
So we head out to the arch there along the Mississippi River and Busch Stadium for the Dodgers trip to arguably one of the biggest baseball and best baseball crowds you could play around. St. Louis fans are some of the best baseball fans, very knowledgeable, very supportive of their team. A lot of places it's like, oh, we got this team, we got this team. They have baseball. And really now, since the Rams left, that's what they have, baseball. But they've always loved their baseball, and you can always count on St. Louis fans to appreciate good baseball, even if it's not from their team. And they've been getting it from their team this year most of the time. So game one, Mitch White on the hill, 5 innings, gives up 10 hits and 6 runs, picks up the L in a 7-6 loss to St. Louis. Tio Albert takes one deep, and Nolan Gorman also grabs one. The Cardinals had like a bullpen game, really. They threw about 8 pitchers out there, it looked like.
I think Liberatore was supposed to start, and then they switched it up, and at some point he did come out and pitch, but it was bullpen game. And of course for the Dodgers with Mitch White on the mound, you never know how long they're going to let him stay. He went 5 innings, and one of the home runs that he gave up, like you said, was to Albert Pujols, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, in his his chase to beat A-Rod. But yeah, so Dodgers lose that game 7-6. But in that game, Trey Turner had a home run.
All-Star.
And Freddie Freeman had a double.
All-Star.
And a home run.
Yeah,
But it just wasn't enough.
No, Freddie got the All-Star nod, as a late minute addition. So who'd they have? Because another Dodger gets added also, didn't make it into the game, but we'll talk about him and his outing coming up here against St. Louis coming up in just a second. So they had quite a few players. In fact, the next night, and maybe this outing in game 2 was a foreshadowing. Look at me getting all literary.
Yeah, in this game we have Tony Gonsolin on the mound, which has always been like, oh, Tony's on the mound? Okay, we're good.
That's a W.
And that's a W, right? We got it. But this game was crazy because on the other side had Adam Wainwright on the mound. And,
or Wainwright. Adam Wainwright would be fine too,
Yeah, Wainwright. Because I was pretty sure that he had paid off the umpires because he gets a very generous strike zone. And there were, yes, he had 5 strikeouts, and obviously he did throw strikes, and some of them were, but there were some that were questionable to me, and to others.
He's in his final season. He's retiring after this.
So they just give him what he wants.
Give him a break.
And yeah.
I think that we should be giving Albert home runs on long fly balls that get to the wall.
Well, I think that the home runs he hit in the home run derby.
Oh, well, then he's
count.
already past fraud. Fraud
right.
is done with what he hit.
I think they should count.
All right, so
you Adam Wainwright
paid off the umpires, but it doesn't matter that he did that because Tony Gonsolin was trying to let them win. Nolan Arenado with a home run. Paul Goldschmidt, 2 RBIs. Tommy Edman, 2 doubles.
Yeah, he did not look good on the mound in St. Louis that night. He had 5 innings pitched, which he has been going in, 7 2/3, and he's only went 5, gives up 7 hits, 5 runs, 6 strikeouts. Like you said, he did give up the home run. And yeah, they were just a hitting machine off of him. It was like, what is happening here? This is not the Tony Gonsolin that we all know and love.
Definitely not the All-Star, the guy who made it onto the All-Star for that. And then showed in the All-Star game, it seemed like what happened in St. Louis was more what Tony Gonsolin does than what he had been doing. That's being the Dodgers ace. Right. There. Now, luckily for the Dodgers, the bullpen had a complete collapse. And over the last 3 innings of the game, the Dodgers are able to score 7 runs. Will Smith with another home run. Freddie, 3 for 3. Trey, 2 for 5. Cody, 2 for 5. And on a Cody single, there was an interesting play, if you will, because Austin Barnes, rounding third base on Cody's single, trips and goes down. Luckily, not too far away from the bag, but still, he was on his way going, hits the ground, able to scramble back to third, and he's laughing about it. They're all done because he was safe. If he'd been out, I'm sure that there would have been a different
And
thing,
it was right in front of the Dodger dugout because in St. Louis, the visitors dugout is on the third base side, and he was right there. And as soon as luckily he was safe, but as soon as he got up, Dino Ebel's patting him on the head, like, okay. And the guys, I could only imagine, are cracking up.
Cody Bellinger, after the game, when asked about it, said that Austin probably won us the game. And of course that brought up, well, why? He fell down. He didn't score the run. He said, well, by him falling down and all the attention there, instead of me being at first base, which is a single, I was able to take second. And that allowed us to continue to score runs and end up winning the game.
Right. And so Cody takes second, and then was it Hanser Alberto, who had struck out earlier in the game, comes up, hits a single, and Dodgers win the game, and he was fired up.
Oh yeah, Hanser
so
was
excited.
completely. I thought he was going to knock himself out because they've been doing that little, like a hybrid move between the hang loose sign that they'd been doing and the head pat. So they make the fist and maybe the pinky's out, maybe it's not, and then they're banging the side of your helmet. He was so excited, he was banging. I thought he was going to give himself a concussion. He was so excited.
Yeah, he's on the protocol. They had to look him over after the game.
Right,
he was okay.
Self-administered concussion. All right.
It was the 26th comeback for the Dodgers this season. They are tied with the Yankees for the most in the majors. It was a great game. I have to be honest, though. I was watching the first part of the game, the first few innings. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to watch the Catman. This is horrible. I don't want to see his collapse. And
Right.
I stuck with it because Will Smith hit that home run, the 2-run home run, and that put him on the board because the Cardinals were up 6-0. And so it was a great comeback win for the Dodgers.
Yeah, walk away with a 7-6 victory in that one. And they head into the finale before heading to see the Angels. Game 3, another All-Star on the mound.
Yeah, Tyler Anderson.
He gets on. He doesn't make it into the All-Star game, unfortunately, but he was named to the team as a last-minute replacement. And he did like we've seen a lot of times where Tony Gonsolin pitches really good, and then it goes to Tyler Anderson, and he'll pitch pretty good. He had a couple of times where it was swapped. Gonsolin great, Anderson not so great. This time, Gonsolin not so great. Anderson looked really good. 6 innings, only giving up 3 hits. Blanks the Red Sox during his 6 innings.
The Cardinals.
I'm sorry. Blanks. Why did I say Red Sox?
I don't know.
Blanks the Cardinals over his 6 innings, and he looked good. He did look like he was in all-star form. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt, once again providing offense, but no run for the Cardinals in a 4-0 victory. And a couple of the usual suspects these days driving the offensive bus, as it were, for the Dodgers.
Yeah, you had Mookie Betts with a double, Freddie Freeman 2 for 3 with a double, Will Smith 2 for 3 with a double, and Gavin Lux 2 for 3 with a home run. Just even JT, he had I think he was 1 for 3, but yeah, just getting things going, things started for them, and just the usual suspects. And I didn't mention one of the usual suspects. I mean, he was 1 for 4 and he scored a run. Trey Turner, ho hum. So he just went to Anaheim and
just his regular everyday,
just how he
clocking
is.
in, clocking out.
Yep.
All right. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Dodgers will fire things up on Thursday. So today they will be playing San Francisco for 4. And then they've got home run champion Juan Soto. And for now, his team, the Nationals, and for 3 after that. Time for the player of the week. There's a few that could be there. There's probably one that stands out more than the rest for more than one reason. But who did you pick?
This week, I combed through my stat book, and I had to go with Freddie Freeman. Had to go.
Yeah,
with
it
Freddie.
was. There was no way around it. He has just been. So I think we can put, at least from the baseball side of it, whatever was going on with Freddie and the Braves and all that we talked about, he got his feelings hurt by that, but it's not translating onto the field. He hasn't had any major slumps. He hasn't been in some major depression. And he's putting up numbers. He's putting up MVP numbers in a lot of sense, and he was an all-star. He got into the game as a pinch hitter, but he should have been not just a late minute replacement. He has been one of the most solid players from any team. And whether you think he is fully embracing the Dodgers or not, he's not letting where he's at stop him from playing good, solid MVP caliber baseball. I too went with Freddie Freeman, 667 batting average on the week. He had that one home run in St. Louis, and just a lot of other great numbers, including a OPS of 1751. Freddie Freeman, all-star, legendary, on his way to being a legendary Dodger. And what I hope is that when he goes into the Hall of Fame, his time with the Dodgers so overshadows. You know what? I hope that he kind of Mike Piazza's the Brave, like Mike Piazza did to the Dodgers.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome. During interviews on Home Run Derby, the Monday before the All-Star game, they asked him, somebody asked him about how he was doing in, after everything that happened in Atlanta. And he said, that's a really good question. I've been through a lot, but the group of guys that I am surrounded with every day, and we have MVPs everywhere, we have batting titles, but these guys have helped me through this, and they're great, and I love being on this team, and I am looking forward to many great years with the Dodgers. And so I'm like, all right, everything is done, and it is put to bed.
Recently, Dave Roberts on the Dan Patrick
show,
radio show,
yeah.
Talking a lot of different things about baseball. What I like is when I do hear him on the radio, especially with like Dan Patrick or the national host, he's always very open, very candid. And he said, when we were in Atlanta, I was all things Freddie Freeman, because he knew what the situation was. He was there to support Freddie in every single way. But pretty much when it was over, like we said, okay, enough. It's like, Freddie, you need to know now was the time to get it all out. If the Dodgers were to meet the Braves in the playoffs, there's no more tears. You go to Atlanta and they're the worst enemy. Even if you get to stay in your own house while you're in Atlanta, the Braves are your worst enemy, and there is no more crying in baseball for you.
That's right. And he even said to Dan Patrick, which was the best, he's all cried out.
Time to hop into the dugout cart, do a few donuts out in the Dodger Stadium parking lot. I would say we could do it on the field, but they got a game today. So I can't tear up the Dodger Stadium today. They don't have time to put it back together. Before we take a look at last week's Player of the Weeks from the MLB, let's take a quick look at or mention a couple of things. The Futures game, which had some top all-star or top minor leaguers. And as we talked about last week, it's not necessarily the number ones that were there. It was the players that the organizations said could go play. We did see some great players. We saw a shortstop throw over 100 miles an hour, and I saw that one across the diamond to get somebody out. That was pretty crazy. Now, the one thing that didn't make any sense with the Futures game is that it was on the Peacock app. So not everybody has Peacock app. I get it as I have Spectrum services, and part of that is you get the Peacock app, the premium app, for like a year. So I could log in and watch the Futures game there or stream it on my phone or whatever, because I have the Peacock app and I have all the, the premium channel, premium Peacock. So I could see that. Now, what I would love is that having the Peacock network also meant you got to watch Carolina Disco Turkey, but it doesn't.
They should look into that, though.
I think so. Now, the thing that that with Dave Roberts was they asked Dave Roberts if he got to watch any of Future's game, and he said, no, we don't have that in the clubhouse.
Yeah, we
And
don't have Peacock.
I think that really sums up what's going on. They don't even have it in the clubhouses of Major League stadiums.
Well, you would think they would have Apple TV because they have the Friday night games, and then they don't even, and they would have Peacock. The Futures game is, the rising stars of the MLB, and yeah, unless you had the streaming service, Peacock, you were not going to see it. So yeah, baseball was really marketing those up and coming stars by putting them on a streaming service that, I don't know how many people have it, but I'm sure I would love to see what the numbers were for the game, like who watched.
Right.
I will say I did not like the uniforms. I thought the uniforms were odd for the Futures game.
That was, and I asked you when I was looking at it, I asked you, what is this? And I think we kind of figured it out because instead of just being one color, they were a split jersey. So the National League team, so they were both had half of a white jersey, and the lettering on the jersey was in Dodger blue. And then the other half for the National League was like a aqua or a blue color. And the American League had orange. Now, what I thought was that because the seats in Dodger Stadium, if you look at them, the bottom ones are the ocean, then it goes to the sand, and then it goes up and through until you get to the sky. That's how the seats are set up. I thought the orange is for like the sun or the sunsets in Los Angeles or in Southern California, and the blue was the ocean on those jerseys.
Yeah. I think that's the best explanation. I tried to find one, and yours was the best. So I think that's what we go with.
So we just went with that one.
Yeah, we just went with that one. They even had in the celebrity softball game similar jerseys. I think one, I don't remember who, like the home team was green and the away team was yellow, same thing, white on one side. So I guess it was just the whole color scheme that they were doing, like the Futures game and then into the celebrity softball game. I did like the AllStar jerseys. I thought for Los Angeles with the gold, it just they look sharp.
I like the American Leagues more than I like the white, but the white on the gold looked pretty good compared to some other jersey choices that have been made over the last few years. These were pretty sharp and classic. I've even thought about not so much the jersey, but like the t-shirt, like getting Ohtani, or the omnipotent base runner from Chicago, Tim Anderson t-shirt, AllStar t-shirt.
Yeah.
I'm not, the more that I saw the hats, the more I didn't like them. Number one, I don't like, because those were the same type that they did for spring training with that trucker hat kind of thing, but they're fitted, but the back of them are that mesh, look. And I hate that. But not all the, like the A's, like the Atlanta's A on their hats. When I first saw it, I thought, what is that? And then I realized. And then you had some A's were up higher. So like the asterisks actually had an asterisk kind of.
Right.
But then I think it was Milwaukee. It was down almost like it was a period. Where the
they wasn't consistent in how it was. So yeah, I think that definitely Major League Baseball can do better when you're trying to grow the game. You have a futures game where you have these guys that are, the best and the brightest in a lot of cases playing in the minors, and they show up for the futures game and it's on Peacock and nobody can watch it. So nobody cares.
Well, it's
that
like
is totally manfreded.
Completely. It's like watching the March Madness. A lot of those people that you see play there eventually go on to the pros. You're familiar with them from there, and you go, here, that's what this game could be, because it's hard to watch minor league baseball. It's easier now through like MILB.com. They have a package like MLB does where you can watch a lot of the games. But this was something that should have at least been on MLB Network, but better ESPN.
Yeah. So that was
or even
really
like
bad.
even like the not main Fox, like the All-Star game was on, but their Fox Sports Network that's on another channel that's like mixed in where normally your regional sports networks are. Something like that would have but at least on MLB Network. And that it's just ridiculous that it wasn't. So saw some good stuff, saw some decent baseball. I think it was more compelling than the actual All-Star game was, because you got a bunch of hungry players, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some of them show up. And you got some fireballers that can throw in the hundreds that'll be coming up there and getting in, especially guys who are relievers. We'll probably see them much earlier than a lot of the other players, because they have less to do when you just come in and throw 100. If you've got pretty good control, you'll make the bigs pretty quick. All right, one last thing before we move on from the minor leagues. While some players were hanging out at Dodger Stadium and playing with other minor leaguers and playing in the futures game, Leandro Cedeno was hanging with his team in Amarillo, Texas, the Sod Poodles. And it was Christmas in July. So they're wearing jerseys that have like Christmas trees on them. And
they're like ugly Christmas
sweaters. That's right.
Yeah.
They're playing San Antonio, former Dodger AA team. But they're playing San Antonio in this game. Leandro Cedeno, and by the way, the Sod Poodles are in the Diamondbacks organization, or that's part of their that's their affiliation. Gets a hold of a pitch, sends it out of the stadium into a parking lot by a building I think it was like a United supermarket or something that was back there, because the ball went like 527 feet, hit this guy in the head, knocked the mint and chip ice cream that he just bought out onto the ground. His daughter sees the ice cream on the ground. She's crying while Cedeno is rounding the bases
with a huge smile on his face,
not knowing that he just ruined somebody's, ice cream sundae party.
Right.
Okay. So only some of that is true. It was a building back there, but I don't think it was the United supermarket. But it was a big parking lot. There were some cars back out there, but the ball went approximately 527 feet. The StatCast stuff that they have in major league stadiums, they don't have all the advanced stuff in minor league stadiums. So we don't know if it went, but it looks like it ran about 527 feet. So pretty incredible from his home run. Hit it in the fifth inning of the game on a 3-0 count. So, and that tied the game 5-5. So it was okay to hit a home run on a 3-0 count, because it tied up the game. They weren't blowing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Moving on, it's time to take a look at last week's MLB Players of the Week. One of them, no surprise, once you hear who it is. But let's start with the American League.
Matt Carpenter added another. This comeback is crazy what he's doing. He had signed a minor league contract with the Rangers in March, and he played 21 games with the AAA team, Texas AAA team. He requested to be released. He signed a major league deal with the Yankees, which has worked out in his favor, and the Yankees favor because Matt Carpenter is the AL Player of the Week. 6 for 15, 3 homers, 2 doubles, 12 RBIs, 1.683 OPS. He had 10 RBIs in New York's 2 blowout wins over the Red Sox over the weekend on Saturday and Sunday.
Wow. And
just
he
crazy.
had
36 years old.
He had a pretty cool weekend. The Carpenter family had a pretty cool weekend, and we will talk about what that's all about next week. And then the National League MVP. I mean, I'm sorry, that must maybe just a slip right there. But the National League Player of the Week.
National League Player of the Week is our pick for Player of the Week, and that is Freddie Freeman. 2 homers, 4 doubles, 5 RBIs, 1.810 OPS. This is his second Player of the Week honor this year. He's just tearing it up.
Order, almost in the last month.
Yeah, he's just. Some people, especially, were like, well, if this is what happens when Freddie Freeman doesn't make the All-Star team, then we need him to never make the All-Star team.
Never vote for Freddie Freeman.
That's right. Because he's like, I'll show you. And he did.
He did. And he shook his fist at him and became an All-Star just off of that. So he is really showing everybody that he's worth the money that the Dodgers paid for him. And you know what? Like I said, it's always that thing, that idea of, when you end a relationship, you eat better, you work out so that you can show your ex what they're missing.
Yes.
And he has really done that. Even when he was in Atlanta, he didn't fold under the pressure in the games. He showed them, hey, remember, I used to do this for you. And you guys decided you wanted somebody younger who's doing around what I've been doing for you all this time.
Yeah.
So cool for him. Let's talk about home run champion for just a minute here. Juan Soto. So Juan Soto, there's a lot of talk about him right now because he's one of the big stars of the game right now. One of the big offensive weapons. You don't hear a lot about him right now because the Nationals are just so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I mean, he's like the face of the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
an up and coming baseball. He's really, there's a lot of great players that we're seeing come up. We talked about Julio Rodriguez and a guy who was about ready to be sent back down early in the season, and then just exploded, becomes an all-star and runner-up in the home run derby, and a main spark plug in that Mariners team. Juan Soto, though, is, with a couple of more seasons under his belt, is putting himself in a position, especially right now where he's just about ready to be a free agent, to be as young as he is at 23, be a free agent this early means that he can sign a huge contract, and the Nationals offered him just that. Like, what was it, 15 years?
15 years.
440
million. So it's like 30 million a year. Sounds really good to me. He rejected that offer, and now the Nationals are entertaining trades.
And that's the crazy thing. He's not a free agent next season.
No.
He's not a free agent until 2024. So it's not like if they trade him now, even if they get a bunch of stuff, could go somewhere like, I don't know, the Dodgers. But because, contenders are the Dodgers are one of the few teams that are going to be able to sign him and like sign him for the money he wants too. And it's crazy to think that you wouldn't take that much money. But there's something else going on, and maybe he realizes, I'll sit here and be Mike Trout from the standpoint of, are they going to build around me? And the other thing that I don't think everybody gets, and the players certainly don't always get, when you look at championship players, rarely are they the highest paid player on their team. LeBron James, everybody thinks he's making $60 million a year. LeBron James is like fourth or fifth on the Lakers in what he's being paid. Tom Brady would take less money, build a better team, give me something to throw to. Those guys get it. The guys that take all the money, I mean, I don't blame like Mike Trout. He took it, but he was probably promised, we're going to build. He wants to be there. But instead of saying you're wasting that player's talent there, if that player chose to stay, if Shohei Ohtani, knowing what he knows, says, I want to stay with the Angels, even if they don't have anybody, then that's Shohei Ohtani's deal. Juan Soto has said, I don't think I want to do that. I want to go play for a team that can win. I don't know if he has a team in mind. I know that the Nationals have said straight out that, Philadelphia and the Mets can stop calling, put away their offers. We're not trading inside of our division. They even kind of said the Yankees as well. And could you imagine him with Stanton and Judge? It would be insane, that outfield.
Yeah.
And then if
that
you
would
brought
be
him
totally
to
crazy.
LA, Mookie, Soto, and Bellinger in the outfield, defensively incredible. And at the bat, Soto alone. But then Mookie can be fairly consistent, and then Cody has his moments. Crazy. I mean, you'd almost ink in, where are we going to put this piece of metal in our trophy case?
Yeah, I think with him winning the home run derby, there's been talk that, oh, look, he is worth this much because he won the home run derby. And I don't know that goes into it as much. Sure. I mean, it happened. And then the All-Star game, all the festivities happened. So it was right after that. He was closely watched. A lot of people ask him about that in interviews. Scott Boras, his agent, was right next to him, making sure damage control if he needed, but he was very good. And he just said, I don't, let's talk about something else. I'm here for fun. And yeah, I mean, I've even heard he's worth $500 million.
Well, and maybe he is. If he can help a team win and bring in the fans, because honestly, that's where the money is, bringing in the fans. So we'll see how the Juan Soto saga unfolds as we go. And will he be traded by the deadline? Early August is coming up, and we'll talk a little bit about the trade deadline next week as well. Before we talk about happenings with that team in the City of Fountains, Joey Gallo, who's been getting a lot of grief this season because he's not hitting. And I went back and I looked at his career, and he's not really ever hit for a high average. 2019, he hit 253. That was the highest he ever hit anytime. Last season, he only hit 199. Currently, he's hitting 164. His home run numbers overall are down. He has had a couple seasons, one season of 40 home runs, one of 38. On non-injury years, he's had, varying degrees of success, some low 200s, a lot of batting in the hundreds. He even had one where, like early on, where he only played like about 20 games and he batted like 44. But it opens up brutal tweets, and this has got to be one of the best tweets ever. Person tweeted that the Anthony Rizzo Foundation was auctioning off for the foundation's benefit a hour-long or a half-hour-long hitting lesson with Anthony Rizzo Aaron Judge, and Giancarlo Stanton. And a Yankee fan said, hey, let's all get together, start a My Fund page or whatever that is, and we'll all contribute in, buy the package, and then give it to Joey Gallo. And at first I laughed, and then I thought, but they're his teammates, and if he's around them all the time and he's still not getting it, I think that's a waste of money.
Yeah. Funny at first, and then when you think about it, like, yeah, I don't know that it will help him.
So here's what I think is I think that Artie Moreno is going to force Perry Manassian to trade Noah Syndergaard and Patrick Sandoval for Joey Gallo.
Oh, no. No.
All right, so let's
Say
go
it
back
ain't
to
so.
let's go back to Kansas City, where an interesting, I don't know, it generated a pretty funny tweet as well. But if you're not been following, you have to be vaccinated to get into Canada. That's the rules for entry into our neighbors to the north. Well, there are players in MLB that have chosen not to be vaccinated. Well, apparently 10 of them are all on the Kansas City Royals. And it's not like 10 guys, maybe some bullpen pitchers, maybe some bench guys. We're talking Andrew Benintendi. We're talking Whit Merrifield. Were unable to go to Toronto because they're not vaccinated. 10 players. Hunter Dozier, their first baseman.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
10 players.
crazy.
I saw a lineup card, and it was Bobby Witt Jr. was playing in all of the positions.
Is that like when you're playing in the when we used to play and we didn't have a full team or close to it? It'd be like one player played between second and third, like in the shortstop position. So Bobby Witt would be there. Another player would play between first and second, and maybe 2 or 3 outfielders, depending. But you sometimes only 2 outfielders, and then a pitcher and a catcher, and or you would say, okay, right field is closed. If you hit it to right field, it's an out. Or left field, it's an out.
That so was, those were the rules they were thinking of. Yeah, and there was a great tweet that was, pretty much, I don't know why anybody is, why everybody's concerned or up in arms about this. Kansas City never had a shot. Like winner of Twitter.
Like everything. Yeah, that's what I think I wrote back to you. I just wrote winner. When you said that to me, it was that was good.
Now, because Andrew Benintendi is not able to get into Canada, there were talks of a possible trade between the Yankees and Kansas City, with Andrew Benintendi going to the Yankees. That trade pretty much is off the table. Even thoughts of that trade are off the table because the Yankees still have several games that they have to play against Toronto, and some of them are in Toronto. And why get a player that's not going to be able to help you out? Also, talking about Toronto, there's no more Charlie Montoya. He's gone.
Right. Third manager of the season to be fired. And the weird thing is that a lot of people are like, yeah, but the Blue Jays are over 500. Yes, but the Blue Jays are in 4th place, and the Orioles are rapidly approaching, and the team is underachieving. And that's their issue with it. Everybody loved Charlie Montoya, but the word from the clubhouse was he lost the clubhouse. That sometimes players need a kick in the ass. It was the exact quote. And he's not the guy that gives it to them. They're playing in the same division with the Yankees, but they should be ahead of the Red Sox and the Rays with the talent that they have.
Right. And I think that's what they were looking at. And I really, it's just a different philosophy. And like you said, they all have to be on the same page. And yeah, like you said, everybody loved him, but they need the fire, and they need the manager that says, this isn't going to work tonight. You got to do this, do that, whatever. And
be on him a little bit, be their buddies when he needs to be a buddy, and be out there cracking the whip when he needs to do that as well to keep them moving. MLB, let's talk a little bit about a couple things connected here. First, the MLB settled.
Yeah, they did. Major League Baseball is going to pay $185 million to settle a federal class action lawsuit that was filed by minor league players who sought pay for minimum wage and overtime violations by teams. Now, this suit was filed in February of 2014 by a former Miami Marlins minor leaguer, Aaron Sine, and two other retired minor league players. It was settled before it went to trial, so thousands of other players will be eligible to receive part of that settlement. Of course, the rest go to attorney's fees and costs and things like that. But yeah, they're settling this class action lawsuit dealing with minor league minimum wage and overtime.
All of the things that I've seen over the years about what it would cost to provide housing or different things for minor leaguers, what a minimal cost it would be just to give them some basics and a little bit more money, probably over a long period of time would have cost them what they're settling for now. Had they just given it to everybody at that point in time instead of fighting it, it may have cost them less.
Yeah, but they dug in their heels, and now they are finally, like I said, this was a suit that was filed in 2014, is now settled.
And then just a real quick thing. I don't want to get into a whole lot of it. I do recommend if you read the LA Times, head on over there. There was a good article in the Times. The story is it's a question and answer from Bill Shaken, great sports writer from the Times, with Rob Manfred in town for the All-Star game. And I bring this up more because we found out that even he has no idea when the Trevor Bauer arbitration thing, will be decided. He said it's up to the arbitrator. Whenever he lets us know, we'll know. So he's completely in the dark as well. There's no date on it. He didn't say, okay, he told us by this date we should have an answer. Nothing. It's just up in the air. He also talks about other things, other programs that they have, youth programs and things like that. And we'll talk about it a little bit more next week because there were quite a few players drafted this year that came out of some of those youth programs. Hunter Green, the fireballer from the Cincinnati Reds, we've talked about a few times, came out of one of those programs right here in Southern California. There were some interesting things in there. A lot of the times I think that Manfred is full of it or is drinking his own Kool-Aid. But
yeah, I think he lives in his own reality of what he thinks baseball should be, and nobody agrees.
There's virtual reality, there's reality, and Manfred reality. And Manfred reality will probably, if you follow through with Manfred reality, it will probably lead to you ending up on the wheel of iron. How to do that. So I always run out of breath too early. The Wheel of IL, presented to you by, well, we don't have a sponsor yet. Dr. Pepper, hint, hint, hint.
Ace Bandages, how about that?
Oh, that would be good. You know what? How many of somebody's health care? Blue Cross, Blue Shield brings you Ace Bandages, Neosporin, I don't know, crack. Something.
Well, we're going to start in Boston. This poor guy, Chris Sale, he gets off of the IL, gets off the wheel, and then a line drive breaks his pinky finger, and he had surgery to repair it, and he is back on the IL for Chris Sale.
Some people are just injury prone. It doesn't matter what happens. He's like what was the Mr. Glass? Samuel L. Jackson in the movie Unbreakable. Chris Sale is the real life Mr. Glass.
And also in Boston, Trevor Story, he was hit by a pitch, had a on his hand, so he has a contusion on his hand, and he is also on the wheel of IL. Andrelton Simmons has a right shoulder strain, so he's spinning on the wheel in Chicago. Mike Trout, this was interesting because he had back spasms.
Right, kept him out of almost all of the Houston series and all of the Dodger series, as we mentioned.
Right, and the AllStar game, but he has rib cage inflammation.
Which threw me off when I saw that they added him to the IL, but not for the back spasms.
Right. It's for the rib cage. I don't know.
He was, and he said he was concerned. They didn't really ask him in any of the things that I saw over the All-Star weekend. He was there, or the last few days he was there. I saw him interviewed a couple times, but not a lot of talk about what was going on and how that is. But his quote, at one point was, "It's concerning, but I'm hoping this and this." My concern is that he and Anthony Rendon both realized that we're not going to do anything this season, and they're just taking the rest of the season off.
Yeah, I'd hate to see that.
I don't think Mike Trout would do that as much as Anthony Rendon. I'm beginning to think that Anthony Rendon is he's like it's like a Ponzi scheme kind of thing without the Ponzi part of it. He is what is it that I'm completely drawing a blank on the kind of criminal he is, but he goes and meets some old rich widow and got all this money, and then he goes in and makes her feel nice and then takes all of her money. He's scheming. He's a grifter.
A grifter, yeah. I was thinking now, if Mike Trout was involved, then they would be dirty, rotten scoundrels.
Yes.
But
who gets to be Michael Caine in that sense? I don't know. I don't see it in either one of them. Anyway, back to the wheel of IL.
Bruce Starr Gratterall had some issues with his right shoulder. It's not specific if it's inflammation, but he did have an MRI and it revealed no damage. So the Dodgers are looking at, probably 2 to 3 weeks. They're hoping he'll be back throwing in the game. Brandon Crawford of the San Francisco Giants has knee inflammation. So that does it for the wheel of IL. Not a lot this time around. However, we will see where it goes because we noticed Nolan Arenado was supposed to be in the All-Star game, but he did not participate because he had some back issues. So it looks like maybe some of those guys, I think Carlos Rodon, he was also scheduled to be in the All-Star game. He had some injuries. They're not officially on the IL. We'll watch it for next week. Maybe they're like, take it easy during the All-Star break. We'll see where you are, reevaluate. So this week, a little light on the wheel, that's okay. But we'll see, is the wheel tilting next week?
Yeah, that's a good idea to use this, manage the time like that. We're about ready to wrap things up, but a former baseball player, a pro baseball player, but more known for his Olympic feats, had a really good week, even though he's no longer with us. and that would be Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, Jim Thorpe was stripped of his 1912 gold medals because he'd been paid to play minor league baseball. And he had won the gold medals in the decathlon and the pentathlon, and they had taken those away from him because they said he was a professional because he played minor league baseball in 1909 to 1910. He earned $2 per game to about $35 per week. And the International Olympic Committee was like, nope, you are a professional. We're taking your medals. And now he gets those medals back. The International Olympic Committee says, nope, he is the gold medal winner in the 1912 decathlon and pentathlon.
Yeah, back in those days, see, a lot of people now don't realize that pros could not participate in the Olympics. It was all amateurs. And the big question was always, are the Olympic athletes from like Russia or China or some other, especially during the when you had the whole communist bloc, was that their job? So technically they're paid to just be, just to compete in whatever their discipline was there, whatever their events were. And now, you know, when you look at the Olympics during the Summer Olympics and you look at the NBA teams, it's all over the place. You know, we had the dream teams with some of the greatest NBA players that went and did that. Now you've got, Dirk Nowitzki went home to play for Germany, or the Gasol brothers going back to play for Spain, stuff like that. In the baseball, a lot of times you'll see, primarily like this last time you just saw minor leaguers, and maybe some pro players went out for teams that were no longer playing, in the MLB, but it opened it up. So
yeah, Jim Thorpe was the first Native American to win a gold medal. He was a member of the Sac and Fox Nation. There had been years of lobbying, and in 1982, they said he was co-champion in the decathlon and the pentathlon, but he was finally, last week, was restored as the sole champion of the 1912 Olympics. He played professional baseball with the New York Giants, the Cincinnati Reds, and the Boston Braves. He returned to football with the Canton Bulldogs and was a member of the NFL's first all-decade team in 1931. And he retired from professional football in 1928 at age 41, and he is a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I think that's where most people remember him from. So that's awesome. I'm glad to see that they finally did the right thing there, and it's something that should have been done a long time ago. Shouldn't have taken this long. And of course, he's been gone for a while now. But I guess sometimes it doesn't matter how you got there, or maybe even when you got there, just that you did. Okay, it's time to put a wrap on this week's Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast, All-Star Edition. Next week, we'll get back with you. We're going to talk MLB Draft. What the Dodgers did, what the Angels did. Did the Angels draft another 20 pitchers? What did the Dodgers do? How many former or even current Major League players' sons were drafted? We'll talk about all that stuff, and of course the usuals. We should also be at a point where we can announce who got the t-shirts and that great $40 gift card in the grand prize with the SRBB t-shirt and the Game Day Chic gift card. Remember to check out the social media accounts, but especially Instagram right now, so that you have your chance. Follow the directions on there, and you'll have your chance to win the t-shirt and potentially that gift card. And where are we on social media again? Because you are our social media marketing director.
Yeah, you might see me on there, my actual face, not just my voice, or just maybe my voice. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A, and we're on Twitter. So send us a tweet at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A. Send us your funny tweets, what you thought of the All-Star game, whatever. We would love to hear from you. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tweet
What do you
us,
think of the
comment,
show?
whatever. Yeah. We think we're doing
hate it.
great. Or
Yeah, this is the greatest show ever. Good, bad, indifferent. Just let us know that you're out there listening. We would love to be able to connect with those who are tuning in. Let us know who you are. Just a little wave. Hey, listening, enjoying. All right, so check Instagram, and like I said, we'll be back next week. We'll talk MLB draft and a whole bunch more on the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Don't forget to swing away.